Welcome to month 6 of the DevOps lead track. Months 1 through 5 gave you the measurement system, the human layer, the operational machinery, the cross-functional playbook, and the debt-to-modernization story. Month 6 is what happens when you have to take all of that to a board, a CFO, and a vendor. The CTO has asked you to present at the next board meeting. 10 minutes, 3 slides. Tell them where the platform is and what we are betting on next. You also have to defend an ROI memo, score a vendor, map your stakeholders, and pre-build the bad news delivery for the SLA you missed last quarter. The thesis of this session: executive communication is not a deck. It is a meeting at which an artifact is signed, named, and dated. The 3-slide update, the ROI memo, the vendor scorecard, the stakeholder map, each is the input to a meeting. The chart, the slide, the policy are downstream of that meeting. By the end of this session, you will have a 3-slide board update with bad news on slide 1, an ROI memo for one platform investment with a 5-year NPV and falsifiable conditions, a vendor scorecard with reference customers you picked, and a stakeholder map with named cadences and decision styles. That is what you leave with. Everything else is supporting material. Here is how the 4 hours are structured. Hour 1 is the 3-slide update. The only structure that survives a board meeting: headline plus numbers on slide 1, the quarter in review on slide 2, forward bets on slide 3. The bad news belongs on slide 1, not buried. We will compress a real quarter into 3 slides, run the 3-question test on each, and discuss why bad news on slide 1 is the credibility move, not the brave move. Hour 2 is ROI for platform work. DORA to revenue, cost, risk, and opportunity cost. The honest math has 4 value lines, not 1. Sensitivity in low, base, high. Reversal conditions. The deliverable is a 1-page ROI memo a CFO would actually fund. Hour 3 is vendor evaluation. The vendor playbook, how to see the 4 plays and price the risk in. Vendor red flags, reference customer protocol, trial to PS gap, and the scorecard that does not get derailed by sales theater. The deliverable is a scorecard for one upcoming purchase. Hour 4 is stakeholder mapping and bad news drills. The 2x2 map by influence and interest, influence strategies by decision style, and a CFO panel tabletop. We missed the SLA. Deliver the news. Keep the credibility. The deliverable is the map and 3 named influence strategies. The 3-slide structure is the only structure that survives a board meeting. 3 slides, 3 jobs, 1 quarter of work. More slides equals less retention. The board will read the first slide twice, and the 3rd slide never. Slide 1 is the headline and the numbers. The one thing you want them to remember: 3 numbers max, lead time, change fail rate, the 1 SLA miss, 1 sentence of narrative, 1 chart. The bad news belongs on slide 1, not buried on slide 7. The CFO will spot the gap if you hide it, and the cost of the gap is the next conversation you do not get to have. Slide 2 is the quarter in review. What shipped? 3 bullets. What slipped? No more than 2, honest. The cost in hours and dollars, if applicable. A DORA trend chart over the 90 days. 1 incident, if there was one, with a link to the postmortem. The point of slide 2 is not to show how much you did. The point is to show that you know what you did and what you did not. Slide 3 is the forward bets. Top 3 priorities for the next 2 quarters. 1 explicit not doing with a reason. Asks that are concrete. A number, a kind, a date. A button for the board to press, not a vibe. Reversal conditions on each bet, in writing. The constraint is the feature. 3 slides forces the priorities into the open where the room can argue with them. Instead of hiding them in a 17-slide deck no one will read. Here is a worked example. A real board update we walked through last quarter. Look at the structure, not the content. Slide 1 headline. Lead time down 40%, change fail rate down 8 points. One sentence. Q2 ship the platform rewrites routing layer, and cut lead time in half. We missed one Tier 1 customer SLA during the cutover, post-mortem filed, asking the board to approve the IDP MVP investment to keep the curve going. The bad news is the third sentence on slide 1, not buried on slide 5. That is the move. Slide 2. The quarter. Shipped. Routing layer at 100% traffic canary. CI migration. IDP prototype. Slipped. Vendor decision slipped to Q3 because reference customer data was incomplete, and the slide says so. Cost. About $140K in eng time. 0 unplanned overtime. One Tier 1 SLA miss on April 14 in 5 CA in 5 days. Mitigation in place. Slide 3, forward bets. Bet 1, IDP MVP in Q3 to Q4 $X 2 FTE. Bet 2, platform cost reduction 20% via the buy decision in Q3. Bet 3, Tier 1 SLA back to 99.5% in Q3. Not doing, multi-region failover, deferred to FY27 with a one-line reason. Ask, approve the IDP MVP at the named number, ratify the multi-region deferral. The shape of the deck is the test. The numbers move, the shape does not. Before the room, run each slide through 3 questions. If the slide cannot answer, it is the wrong slide. Question 1. What is the one thing the board should remember from this slide? If the answer is more than one sentence, the slide has too many jobs. Cut the slide or cut the content. 3 bullets is the maximum for a quarter in review slide. 1 is the maximum for a headline slide. Question 2. What is the decision the board is being asked to make? If there is none, the slide is a status update, and the room will treat it as one. Status updates do not need 10 minutes. They need 1 sentence in the chair's notes. The whole point of the deck is to surface a decision. Question 3. What is the worst question we will get? And do we have an answer? Rehearse the hostile questioner before the meeting. What would change your mind? Destroys unprepared pitches. How would you measure success in 90 days? Is the second one. Have a number for the second and a falsifiable answer for the first. The 3-second test is a corollary. Print slide 1 in grayscale and read it from across the room. If you cannot get the headline in 3 seconds, it is too busy. The board reads the first slide twice, once at the start, once at the end. The first and last things they see should agree. A defensible ROI memo has 4 value lines, not 1. If your math is upside only, it is a sales pitch, not a memo. The CFO will spot the gap on page 1. Value source 1, revenue uplift. The formula is new feature times adoption times revenue per customer. What it catches, net new dollars attributable to the bet. What it misses, substitution. One feature might cannibalize another, and the long lag between ship and revenue. Value source 2, cost reduction. The formula is eng hours, saved times loaded rate. What it catches, the run cost the bet replaces with engineering capacity. What it misses, hidden migration cost and transition overhead. Value source 3, risk reduction. The formula is P of incident time times cost per incident times a multiplier. What it catches, customer, brand, regulatory downside. What it misses, tail risk and correlation across incidents. Value source 4, opportunity cost. The formula is what those engineers would have shipped if they were not working on this bet. What it catches, the things we are not doing because of the bet. What it misses, hard to value, usually a range. Flag it as a range. The honesty test. If you removed the value section and showed only the cost, would the cost still be defensible? If yes, your value section is not load-bearing. Strengthen the bet or kill it. The CFO will do this test anyway. Do it yourself first. A DORA delta becomes a board number only after you translate it. The translation is the work. The DORA change is just the input. Lead time for change translates to revenue uplift. New features reach customers sooner. Adoption in week 1 versus week 4 changes the year's revenue curve. The honest caution is that attribution is hard and substitute features may cannibalize. Deployment frequency translates to cost reduction. Batch releases cost hours and risk. Daily deploys free the batch overhead and shorten the MTTR window. The honest caution is that it needs to be paired with change fail, not reported standalone. Change fail rate translates to risk reduction. Lower change fail means fewer customer incidents, fewer rollback costs, fewer NAD escalations. The honest caution is that reporting the lower number alone is a sales pitch. Report the absolute incident count too. MTTR and failed deployment recovery translate to risk reduction. Minutes of customer impact times cost per minute times probability of occurrence. The CFO recognizes this framing. The honest caution is that the mean hides tail risk. Report P95 alongside. Tier 1 SLA reliability translates to risk reduction. SLA miss equals customer churn, service credits, regulator time. The formula is the same P times cost times multiplier. The honest caution is that multipliers are guesses. Show the range. Translate once. Cite forever. Do the DORA to business translation once per quarter in writing with the CFO in the room. Cite the table in every ROI memo and every board update. The point is not novelty. The point is that the board recognizes the same translation in every deck and stops arguing about it. One number is theater. 3 scenarios, low, base, high, with the assumption that flips each is a memo. The CFO funds the case that survives the worst-case argument. In the worked example on the slide, the low scenario is 20% adoption, 800 hours saved per year, plus 120K NPV over 5 years. The recommendation in the low scenario is to scope down to phase 1 only. The base scenario is 45% adoption, 1,500 hours saved, plus 640K NPV, approve as scoped. The high scenario is 70% adoption, 2,600 hours saved, plus 1.1 million, approve and accelerate. The most fragile assumption is adoption at 45% by month 6. The base case depends on one product team being first to use the IDP, and one team being 90 days behind. If the second team slips, the base case becomes the low case. State this on page 1. Do not bury it in the appendix. What would change this recommendation? 3 falsifiable conditions. First, adoption below 25% by month 6 triggers scope down to phase 1. Second, hours saved below 800 per year triggers kill. Third, any of 3 named Tier 1 incidents in the first year, attributable to the IDP, triggers a 90-day pause and re-evaluation. Reversibility beats optimism. An honest ROI memo names the conditions under which the recommendation flips. The CFO is not funding the upsides. The CFO is funding the reversibility. If you cannot name the kill condition, the bet is not a bet, it is a wish. Every enterprise vendor runs the same 4-step playbook. The plays are not evil, they are the job. Your job is to see the play and price the risk in. Play 1, land with a champion. They're SE pairs with your team. Free POCs. The champion is responsive, technically deep, and has your back in the room. The champion is also the vendor's best salesperson. The relationship will not survive the contract signing if the champion rotates out. Play 2, discount until end of quarter. Their finance team offers 25% off if you sign by the 28th. The discount is real. The urgency is manufactured. The cost of rushing the evaluation is rarely priced in. A bad vendor at 25% off is more expensive than a good vendor at list price. Play 3, the trial lasts 30 days. PS closes the gap. The 30-day trial shows the easy 80%. The remaining 20% requires a paid professional services engagement, billed separately, which you do not see in the proposal. Negotiate the trial end state and the cost to close in writing before the trial begins. Play 4. Roadmap promises, without SLAs. The roadmap deck has the 3 features you need, scheduled for next quarter, definitely. None of it is in the contract. Get the roadmap in writing with a feature SLA, or assume none of it ships and price accordingly. The counter move. For each play, the counter is a written artifact. Champion rotation risk. Name a backup owner in the contract. Discount pressure. Name a benchmark for fair price. And walk away if the discount requires rushing. Trial to PS gap. Agree the cost to close in writing before the trial. Roadmap promises. Written SLA or assume 0. 5 signals that the sales process is moving faster than the product. Each is a probe question to ask before signing. Flag 1. All references are vendor chosen. Every reference customer was a logo on the vendor's slide deck. None were found by your team in your network. Probe. Pick 2 customers we contact. We pick the second one. Flag 2. Trial shows the easy 80%. 30-day trial covers the happy path. The remaining 20% requires a paid PS engagement, not in the proposal. Probe. Cost to reach 100% in writing before the trial. Flag 3. Roadmap without contractual SLAs. The roadmap has the 3 features you need, scheduled next quarter, definitely. None is in the contract. Probe. 3 features in writing, with ship dates and SLAs. Flag 4. Discount only valid until end of month. 25% off if you sign by the 28th. The discount is real. The urgency is manufactured. Bad vendor at 25% off is worse than a good vendor at list. Probe. We pay list. Show me a written quote valid for 90 days. Flag 5. Lock-in is structural, not contractual. The data model, the workflow, the integrations, and the proprietary query language are all bespoke. Migrating away in year 3 is itself a project. Probe. Migration cost in dollars and months, with the data you would need to extract. 2 of 6 is a pause. Rerun the scorecard with the flags as named waiting. 3 is a kill on the bet, not the vendor. Find a different shape of the problem. The point is not vendor bashing. The point is to surface the risk before signing, not after. Vendor-chosen references are sales calls. The 5 questions on this slide are the ones PR cannot pre-approve answers to. Ask all 5, in order, of 2 customers you picked. Question 1. What is the worst incident this vendor caused you in the last 12 months? The vendor's incident list is sorted by their PR team. The customer's list is sorted by what actually happened at 3M. Look for scope, who fixed it, what the SLA said, and whether the customer paid for the fix. Question 2. Who is leaving this vendor in your network, and why? Customers know which other customers are in the escape window. The vendor will not name them. Ask the customer directly. Expect a list of 2 to 3 names with stories. The pattern across those names is the real product roadmap. Question 3. What did you stop doing because this vendor turned out to be too expensive or brittle? The vendor's sales call lists capabilities. The customer will list the things they gave up because the cost or the failure mode killed the project. We stopped trying to do X is the most useful data point in the whole call. Question 4. What does your renewal conversation look like this year? If the customer is mid-renewal, the vendor is in listening mode. If they just renewed at 2x, the price negotiation is the story. If they are leaving, the exit clause terms are the story. Each is a different data point about the year ahead for you. Question 5. If you were doing this decision again, what would you change? Open-ended, last, after report. The answer is usually one of scope, sequencing, contract terms, or internal stakeholder prep. The The first 3 are vendor fixable. The fourth is yours to fix. Ask twice if the first answer is nothing. 2 customers you picked. The vendor provides 1 reference. You pick the second. Find them in your network, in a Slack community, on the vendor's user group list, or in a peer company call. The asymmetry of the reference is the whole point. Vendor-curated customers are not representative. Different stakeholders decide in different ways. The map on the slide is a 2x2, influence on the axis, interest on the x-axis. 4 cells. The point of the map is to allocate your calendar, not to flatter yourself. Manage carefully, top left. High influence, low interest. The CFO is the textbook example. They want cost control, ROI clarity, and no surprises. The risk is that a missed SLA surfaces as a budget story. Cadence. Monthly 1:1, brief by email. Engage closely, top right. High influence, high interest. The CTO and the customer success VP live here. They want a credible platform roadmap and escalations handled. The risk is visible misalignment between the 2 of them. Cadence. Weekly 1:1 with the CTO, bi-weekly with the CSVP. Keep informed, bottom right. Low influence, high interest. Eng leads and PMs live here. They want stability and no surprise changes to their stack. The risk is platform changes that look like unforced work. Cadence. Monthly platform council, async updates. Inform minimally, bottom left. Low influence, low interest. Board NADs live here. They want confidence the team is running, no narrative drift. The risk is surprises in the board pack. Cadence. The 3-slide update, quarterly. The honesty test. If your map has everyone in engage closely, the map is wishful. Place at least 1 skeptic in manage carefully, and at least 1 name in inform minimally. The point of the map is to allocate your calendar, not to flatter yourself. Different stakeholders decide in different ways. The pitch that lands with a CFO is the wrong pitch for the CTO. Tailor the artifact, not just the audience. Data-driven. The CFO is the textbook example. Bring a chart. Be ready for skeptical math. Numbers, ranges, sensitivity. A chart with 1 axis labeled in dollars, customer churn, or risk multiple. They will ask for the underlying calculation. Have it on a slide you can flip to. Bring ROI memo, sensitivity table, 5-year NPV. Story-driven. The customer success VP and most sales leader personas. Bring a customer anecdote. 1 customer, 1 incident, 1 decision. The number is a number. The story is the reason. The pitch is the shape of the moment when the team decided. Bring 3-slide update with the SLA miss on slide 1, coalition-driven. The CTO and most engineering leader personas. Bring buy-in from peers before the meeting. The decision is made before the meeting. The meeting confirms it. The leverage move is the 1-1 with each peer in the week before, not the deck in the room. Bring pre-meeting 1-1-1s. The deck is a confirmation. Process-driven. Board NEDs and risk and compliance personas. Bring the policy that the decision will follow. The decision is on rails. The question is whether the policy was followed. The artifact is the audit trail. ADR, change request. Postmortem, vendor scorecard. Bring ADR, MEDR, scorecard with named weights. Map style to stakeholder, not the other way. The mistake is picking the data-driven pitch because you are data-driven. Pick the data-driven pitch because the CFO is data-driven. For the same bet, the CFO sees a sensitivity table. The CTO sees a coalition of 3 peers, and the CSVP sees the customer who almost left. The bet is the same. The artifact is not. The 4 moves that survive the room. Skip any one and the rest falls. The order is not optional. Move 1. Lead with the news, not the context. We missed the Tier 1 SLA on April 14. Not as you may have seen. Our Q2 had some incidents. The first 15 seconds set the room. The context comes after the headline. The exec does not want the run-up. They want the news, then the explanation, then the plan. Move 2. State the impact in their currency. Revenue, customer, risk, regulator time. Not the SLA was breached by 4 minutes, but on enterprise customer at risk of churn, $X in service credits, an ED question at the next board. The CFO does not think in SLAs. They think in dollars, churn, and headlines. Move 3. Own the cause, not the team did. I let the canary duration slip from 5 days to 2 lands harder than the team missed the canary. The first is accountable. The second is diffusing. The exec can back someone who owns the cause. They cannot back a vague the system or the team. Move 4. Offer the next decision, not just the problem. I am asking for one of. Extend the canary to 7 days, scope down phase 2, or pause the migration for 30 days. The cost of each is here. I will follow your call by Friday. The room needs a button to press. A problem without a decision is a complaint. Practice the tabletop. Rehearse the bad news pitch twice with a hostile questioner before the room. What would change your mind is the question that destroys unprepared pitches. Have an answer. How would you measure success in 90 days? Is the second one. Have a number for that too. The tabletop is uncomfortable. The discomfort is the point. The case study is 1 quarter of work, walked through end to end. Q2 2026, first full quarter under the new DevOps lead. 1 Tier 1 SLA miss mid-quarter. A vendor decision 60 days out. 3 slides, 1 ROI memo, 1 scorecard, 1 stakeholder map. The board approved 2 of 3 asks. The third was scoped down. The artifacts, signed and reviewed, are the work. The metrics on the slide. Board time on platform dropped from 40 minutes with 17 slides to 12 minutes. With 3 slides, a 70% reduction. The headline on 1 structure, bad news on slide 1 not buried, did the work. ROI memo NPV at 5 years went from not argued to 640K base, range 120K to 1.1 million. 4 value lines sensitivity, falsifiable conditions. The CFO funded the base case and the conditions that flip it. Vendor decision cycle dropped from 90 days with no scorecard to 45 days with scorecard and 2 customer calls. The vendor playbook and the red flags caught the discount pressure before signing. Stakeholder 1 ones per quarter went from 6 reactive to 18 mapped, a 200% increase. The 2x2 map by decision style, pre-meeting peer 1 ones, did the work. Bad news surfaced within 24 hours, went from 2 of 4 to 4 of 4. The tabletop drills and the bad news 1, 2, 3, 4 protocol did the work. The thesis in 1 sentence. Executive communication is not a deck. It is a meeting at which an artifact is signed, named, and dated. The chart, the slide, the policy are downstream of that meeting. The DevOps lead's leverage is the calendar entry, not the slide count. Each deliverable is a single artifact that survives the session. Each is scored against 5 criteria, 5 points each, 25 per deliverable. The session is pass-fail at 75 of 100. Deliverable 1, 3 slide board updates, 25 points. 1 quarter compressed into 3 slides. Headline plus numbers on slide 1. Bad news on slide 1 or early slide 2. Forward bets with a named not doing. Asks that are specific, a number, a kind, not vibes. File, name months 6 board update PDF or PPTix. Deliverable 2 ROI memo, 25 points. 1 platform investment. TLDR on top, less than 2 pages. Cost includes opportunity cost. Value math shown, formulas, not totals. Sensitivity in low base, high. Decision ask is a concrete action, not investment in the area. File, name month 6 ROI memo.mnd. Deliverable 3 vendor scorecard 25 points. Weights sum to 100% and reflect priorities. TCO numbers shown. Reference customers, we choose, not the vendors. Trial plan uses real workload. Recommendation includes reversal conditions. File, name month 6 vendor scorecard M&D. Deliverable 4, stakeholder map and influence, 25 points. Map placements honest, not all engage closely. Decision style per stakeholder. Strategies bidirectional, what they want and what I want. Quarterly cadence concrete. Risk and mitigation per relationship. Files, name month 6 stakeholder map MD and name month 6 influence strategies MD. The thesis, one more time. Executive communication is not a deck. It is a meeting at which an artifact is signed, named, and dated. The 3-slide update, the ROI memo, the vendor scorecard, the stakeholder map, each is the input to a meeting. The chart, the slide, the policy are downstream of that meeting. The DevOps lead's leverage is the calendar entry, not the slide count. 3 slides is the test, because the constraint forces the priorities into the open. Bad news on slide 1 is the test, because hiding it costs you the next conversation. The thesis holds when the artifacts are reviewed, signed, and dated. After the track, take the 3-slide update to a real exec this quarter. Use the ROI memo to fund, or kill, a real initiative. Run the vendor scorecard on the next purchase. Pick 3 stakeholders to invest in next quarter, with named cadences. Then read made to stick, and write a letter to your future self about what failed in this track. That is the end of the DevOps lead track. 6 months. The measurement system, the human layer, the operational machinery, the cross-functional playbook, the debt-to-modernization story, and the executive communication. The artifacts are the work. Signed, named, dated.